That fucking bearded fucker that just kept talking over me the entire time I was broadcasting on my goddamn channel had stats and figures that proved my point. Sources we would both agree are reputable. That's why I said, I'll take you all on again, but I'm gonna have some people with me. It took 7 of you to beat me. And I've already said for months, I'll take any one of you on again. Tell you what, Underhaven, you, me, right here, right now, we discuss the bullshit you said in your episode. Right here, right now. Hello, Underhaven.
Yeah, I was just listening to you while I was walking on my way back, and I heard you say something that was a bit off to me. I heard you mention the whole private militia thing. I just want to make clear, man. I think that private militias are a stupid fucking idea. I think that would lead to more corruption and violence. I just want fucking reform. I don't believe in this ridiculous fucking idea of, oh, let's defund the police because that'll totally fix the issue of corruption in the police departments. Like, that's not gonna fix jack shit. That's just gonna have a bunch of fucking angry police officers that are gonna take out their anger on other fucking people because they're getting paid even less than they already are. So I just want to make that clear. I do not believe in private militias. Those are a terrible fucking alternative to police departments. And anyone who's putting that out there is a moron.
Okay. Let me ask you a question. What is your solution? What is your solution to what you believe is a police problem? I don't believe we have a problem with policing.
I think a very elegant and easy solution is just that every single police department should have their officers have body cameras on. I know that's still not a universal thing. I just think that needs to be standardized. It's not only good for the officer, it's good for, the average citizen. So I think that's an overall solution that could be employed. Do you have any disagreement with that?
Believe it or not, no. Where I start to have a problem is when the body cam footage shows the officer is completely justified.
Okay, so you want to talk about this situation that we were talking about here in this this stream. So I should clarify this to you. We did this stream like the night that it came up. I did not look into this topic first. That dude Tav, he just randomly brought it up, and we took a look at it. And I don't know if you probably didn't see this, but on the next stream that we did after that, we actually acknowledged this. We came out and we were like, yeah, no, he was justified in this situation. Once I saw the further context, more footage of the situation from the actual body cam and not just like a secondhand recording, I do agree that the officer did the right thing, did the thing that needed to be done.
So let me ask you a question.
Okay.
When do you think police officers are justified in using deadly force?
To me, it's nuanced, but it comes down to basically if someone else's life is in danger. If it's between someone else getting shot and someone being shot for the defense of someone who's actually innocent, sometimes what has to happen is just that. Now, I would prefer that, in scenarios where non-lethal force is possible, that it could be used. I feel like there are more cases where it could be, where it's not in this country, but I do still, that's not to say that lethal force is never justified at all. I think that anyone who says that, an officer should never be using a gun for any reason, I think they're fucking absolutely batshit insane. There are situations where that's justified. And anyone who thinks otherwise is just fooling themselves. They live in a fantasy world, basically.
What if they're confronted with somebody that, let's say, now you're talking about life of the officer, life of people. What if it's just a single guy and he has, like, let's say a 22 caliber pistol? Now that pistol is not making its way through the officer's Kevlar vest. Does he have the right to shoot him if he fires it?
I don't know. I feel like that's actually a good question to pose.
Because a knife can, and a bow and arrow can.
Sure. Well, let me just come out and ask you this. Like, what point are you really trying to make with what you're trying to say here?
My point is that the cops are not out looking to shoot people. And I'll make 2 points and let you get to your point. Okay. Because I think we're going to be going rapid fire here. And the cops, you still do know that is a human being behind that badge that ended the life of another human being, and now they have to live with it. They had this brought up in the 70s with Barney Miller. There's an episode of the show, a cop Chano kills somebody and he spends 2 days in bed bawling because he took the life of someone that was going to kill him.
I would agree.
At the end of the day,
that
they still have to live with it.
Oh, no, like, without a doubt, it's a difficult job. Like, anyone who has to have, like, someone else's life put in their hands to any extent is definitely facing down a difficult job. I'd agree with that. I don't know. I feel like a lot of the time people use that as sort of a reason to not at least fight for, you know, I suppose just better policies in general. Like I said, when it comes to body cams and shit like that, that should be a standard practice. I'm sure there's other fucking things that could be improved about police departments and shit like that are, you know, not just let's abolish everything and just start all from, you know, scratch with no plan of what we're gonna do. Because I feel like that's what a lot of the left has in mind. They just have no idea what their end goal is. They just look at the police departments and they say, oh, I really don't like how this is run. And rather than propose solutions on how to actually fix it, they're just like, let's just burn it all down.
Well, why isn't the focus on why did the young man feel the need to fire at the cops in the first place?
Well, I feel like
you know one of the things that is never talked about, and I don't want to get into a left versus right debate, is, and this is true of every community where crime is prevalent, where is the home? Where's the dad? You're not going to find it.
Well, would you agree that the lack of a proper family is probably down to not only largely environmental factors, but also a lack of focus on education? I feel like that's something that we could be putting a lot more for.
No, the lack of a family is down to personal choices.
Well, here's my question for you. What's your proposal? Like, how would you suggest that we go about remedying that issue?
Stop the welfare state. Stop incentivizing women to marry the government and start incentivizing them to marry the men that are the father of their fucking children. And I'll give you a historical example. Right before the welfare state, black families were on average earning per hour 3 cents less than their white counterparts. Then the welfare state happened, and it all went to shit.
So you really think it's just down to that? I mean,
no, it's down to when black fathers are in the home, black children tend to do better. There's a reason why Asians, who were discriminated against far more than black people were, are now out earning by a decent margin white people.
I feel like it's increasingly apparent, though, that like the idea of the nuclear family is quickly becoming a thing of the past in this country. Don't you think don't you think that we should try and find a solution around that rather than just try and...
No, the nuclear family is a good thing.
I mean, I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing, but I don't think that... I still think that there needs to be accommodations for people who don't have traditional family lives, because inevitably there's going to be people like that.
Okay, how's this? I want strong families. I don't give a fuck if it's a mother, father, or mother. I don't give two shits.
Okay, no, I agree with that.
But this epidemic of single motherhood and relying on the fucking government to raise your kids has done nothing but lead to poverty, incarceration, degradation, and it's hurt. There's a reason why every other fucking group except black people have done better over time.
So, like, okay, why do you think that this is particularly an issue with black people? Like, what do you think led to that scenario?
Black women want to sleep with every black male they can, and black men do not want to deal with the responsibilities of not wearing a fucking condom or taking a sterility pill. And thanks to half-ass government programs, it's kind of beneficial to the mother. They don't take their responsibility, aka their child. This is why it is almost unique among the black community that you have 7 kids with 7 daddies.
Wouldn't you say that that's a little bit uncharitable to like an entire group of people? I mean, it doesn't just seem to be an issue among...
I don't mean that it's the entire fucking group, of course. There is a decent chunk. It's like saying you're using the same argument that they use to defend the Muslims. A very small minority are terrorists. However, 20% of Muslims support every fucking thing the terrorists do.
I'm not saying that inherently just because that's the case that it applies to all of those people, but like there needs to be some type of reason. There has to be like some type of historical reason on some level why there's a difference.
There's not.
So you think just by circumstance? Do you think just by complete circumstance with no factors that have any play into it at all, that's just the way it is?
No, there's too many people that have... Look at Damon John. He grew up in one of the worst neighborhoods in America and founded FUBU. And now he's a multi-billionaire. Did he do that by being a ganger banger, or did he do that by hard work?
Well, wouldn't you agree that when it comes to the environments that people are raised in, that some people just have... I suppose if you come from a more affluent background...
No, I don't. Because most kids that inherit their wealth, most second generation, third generation, especially third generation, rich kids lose every fucking nickel they have.
But you would agree that they at least still have more opportunity. It's just that they squander it.
Because they didn't do anything to get the opportunity. They fuck up and they get fired.
I feel like to have that opinion, don't you have to kind of deny all these fucking, political dynasties that we have in this country, like the Clintons and all these fucking families who have had money in them for generations?
We have two.
I mean, there's a lot more. There's a lot more billionaires than that.
And both of them are destroyed. The Kennedys are destroyed. Name me a political dynasty that we have. Trump? Maybe. But he'll be destroyed within 2 generations.
Well, it's not necessarily just up to politics. I mean, there are people who are very influential billionaires who aren't necessarily
the Rockefellers? They're irrelevant.
People like Jeff Bezos. I mean,
He's irrelevant.
I mean, he tries to insert his opinion into the websites that he has all the time.
And it agrees with your position.
No, it doesn't. I'm not left-wing.
Then what are you?
I consider myself, like, basically a political independent. I think that political labels kind of hold people back. I like talking with people on individual policies, and I don't really like ascribing myself to one political opinion. Sure, I might have some opinions that are left-wing, but to call myself left-wing, no, I'd rather not. There's too many crazy people associated with that label.
Okay, if it's any consolation, within 3 generations, the Bezos family will be broke. And I don't even know if there is a Bezos family. I don't know if he has kids or not.
I mean, I know he has a wife, but I don't know if he has...
No, he doesn't. He has an ex-wife.
Who has half his fortune now. You might not be that far off from the truth. But, I mean, there's always going to be the next rich fuck who's going to crop up. And at least for, like...
No, not in this system. This is why capitalism is great. Because it punishes dumb fucks.
What about the Walt Disney Corporation, then? They've been killing it for years, and they're still killing it, and they're getting bigger and bigger with more and more entertainment franchises.
They're losing money out their fucking asshole!
Maybe you're right. Maybe because of COVID, but, like, they were doing fine.
Horrid, stupid decisions! Especially with Star Wars.
I mean, I agree the new Star Wars films are terrible, but they're still making them money. Eventually, they will make back what they gave Lucasfilm, or bought Lucasfilm for, I should say.
No, apparently, after all these years, they are still at a net $35 million loss.
I mean, we'll just have to go and see how that turns out. I don't know. I look at a lot of these fucking companies, and I just see, like, there are a lot like Disney that have been around for a long time. A lot of these entertainment companies in particular, and that's just some examples. There's all types of companies who have been around for a long time that aren't related to entertainment.
Well, also, you're talking about companies, not families. There is a difference.
Sure, there is a difference, but a lot of the time, it seems like the wealth does stay in the fucking family.
And any of the old rich families have been losing money out of their ass.
So you don't believe that there's...
No, I do believe it is possible to create a dynasty, but thankfully, to our free market capitalist system, dynasties do not last forever. Unless we breed all smart people, which is impossible.
Sure, there's been a lot of fucking titans that have fallen in terms of big fucking companies and shit like that, but I feel like a lot of the big families who have been around for a long time are the ones that we don't even end up fucking hearing about or talking about that much. Like, here's one off the top of my head. I just thought of one. The fucking Waltons. They've been big for a long time, right?
And you know what? Okay, tell you what. Let's take the Waltons.
Okay.
Let's say they do make political contributions. Do you know what that means?
What?
Jack shit.
I mean, wouldn't you say that that's like that's a huge swing for whatever political
No.
ideologies they're supporting? No.
They support let's say they support somebody going for the House of Representatives. Great. They got one vote out of 526.
How do you feel about super PACs and everything like that? In favor or against?
For what I've seen they can do, I would have to classify them as largely ineffectual. They don't mean shit.
You don't think that there's like a big reason why Trump made a big deal about funding his own campaign and shit like that? You don't think that that was like a valid thing to actually be enthusiastic about?
You know, you're honestly getting from Trump to Bernie Sanders. Me, I don't give a fuck where the money comes from. What I have seen is super PACs largely do not do shit.
I'm going to take you to an example that I'm pretty sure we already both agree on, which is you and I both believe that weed should be legal, right?
Okay.
I mean, okay, well, here's a perfect example. I mean, Big Tobacco has been fucking lobbying against that shit for a long time. It's the majority of the people
has somehow lost case after case after case. Shouldn't Big Tobacco have had the president in their pockets? Because Big Tobacco is older than the hills. Shouldn't they have had the president in their pockets to say, hey, Mr. President, I want you to appoint this justice so they don't infringe on our business. Menthol cigarettes are going to be illegal in the next year.
And I also think that's bullshit. People should have the right to put in their bodies what they want.
I tend to agree. Why was any of this allowed? If your theory holds true that super PACs and money and blah, blah, blah can influence everything, shouldn't the tobacco company, which has been with us since time immemorial, have been able to insulate themselves?
Here's my question to you then. Do you agree with me that if Trump pushed for that, then he would have probably fucking won? I mean, I don't even know if it's a fucking question. I'm pretty sure he would have goddamn won if he actually seriously pushed for that. That would have gotten a lot of...
I'll tell you this. I told this to my brother-in-law. I'm shocked one of the two candidates didn't do it.
Okay, then why do you think they didn't do it then? It's free political capital, right?
One, Biden, I'll go with Biden first. He's a relic of the 1994 crime bill where pot is horrifically addictive and blah, 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 blah. The reason Trump didn't, the same reason he doesn't drink. It can be an addictive substance that does trigger something within him. I get it, why he didn't. And it wasn't, because I guarantee you, if in 2024, if he's in a primary, all a Republican challenger has to do is say, I'm gonna, which they really can't do anyway, but let's federally legalize pot, he'll beat Trump. He can't federally legalize pot in the first place. It has to be done at the state level.
You could still take it off the, I don't remember the name off the top of my head.
He could do that, but that'd be about it. But as for it being legal, illegal, that has to be done by the state.
Either way, I just hope that we fucking see it within the next couple election cycles, because it would be a huge win for personal liberty. I've kind of got to fuck off for a little bit. Is there anything you want to talk to me about before I go? I feel like we kind of talked about most of the shit that we had differences about here.
Nah.
All right. It was nice talking to you.
All right.
Thanks for hearing me out, and have a good day.
All right.
See you, dude.
Bye. Isn't it so nice when they come one-on-one? They're always so nice.